What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the J.Meaney review. I'm J.Meaney, and today, Phase 4 of the MCU has finally came to a close. So I basically wanted to rank all the content that we have gotten in Phase 4. Now, the only thing I didn't include was the I Am Groot miniseries that was only like a couple minutes long. Didn't really want to add that in here. But excluding that, I have 17. So we'll start right off at the top at number 17. Number 17, Eternals. Look, I didn't hate Eternals. I didn't like Eternals. I know a lot of people were very mixed on that movie, and some people hated it. And like I said, I did not hate this film, but there was nothing in it that really gripped me. I mean, yeah, some of the characters were kind of interesting. I can't remember any of their names, and I did like the love story, the connection between these two characters. Thank God I can do things and like post-edit, because I can't remember any of their names. But yeah, I don't know. It just felt like it was so not a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It felt like its own thing, which is not bad. That's not the reason I didn't like the movie, but it also was something that added to me not being able to really feel attached to this film like I am with the other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. The movie wasn't terrible, but I didn't like it. Yeah, that's all I really have to say on Eternals. I can barely remember the movie. Number 16, She-Hulk. I really didn't like She-Hulk. Now, the reason I put it higher on the list than Eternals is there were some things in this show that I did enjoy. There was some humor that I did enjoy. I surprisingly did like Abomination in this. At first, I didn't. It's a huge departure from his character in Incredible Hulk. Yeah, he grew on me. I liked him. And then, really, I was just waiting for Daredevil, which is terrible. I shouldn't be sitting in the show just waiting for this other character to show up. But when that character did show up, and we finally got to see Daredevil in the MCU, not Matt Murdock, but Daredevil, I love that episode. That's the best episode in the whole series to me. But this show wasn't made for me. There's a lot of people who love She-Hulk. The show isn't aimed towards me. It's not. And at first, I really did like Jennifer Walters. The first episode or two, found her to be very funny and pretty likable, but then as the series went on, I started not to really like her. And then finally, where I thought we were going somewhere with the second to last episode, which it's terrible to finally feel like that to the second to last episode, she gets outed and she just loses control, and that really went nowhere. I don't like the ending. I mean, yeah, it was cool, you know, when it cuts to the Disney Plus screen and I was like, oh shit, my screen's messed up. You know, that was cool, but then she comes in and rewrites the show to where she doesn't really have to do anything. There's not much character growth. It seemed like they wanted some character growth to be there, but they never actually did it. So yeah, number 16 is She-Hulk. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to like sum up my thoughts so that this video isn't an hour long. Number 15, Black Widow. I was more disappointed than anything. When there was talks of a Black Widow solo film, I really wanted it to be an origin. I think a lot of people wanted it to be an origin. They did this thing that takes place between Civil War and Infinity War, and it just, especially after the death of Natasha Romanoff in the MCU, it just didn't feel right. It just felt weird. Taskmaster, I think Taskmaster was pretty cool. If we got more of him in the movie, well, her, spoiler alert. By the way, yes, there's going to be spoilers. I'll try to keep the spoilers minimum, but I got to talk about it somehow. I loved Red Guardian. I loved that whole family dynamic of the movie. The action was great. I love Yelena. I think it's Yelena. So yeah, there's things in it I liked, but overall, it was kind of, it was disappointing. I think they should have did an origin film of Black Widow. Number 14. Ms. Marvel. I feel like all these I've started off with, I didn't like it. I liked Ms. Marvel. I did enjoy it. And it's weird that it's ranked so low, but really, I mean, it's just because I didn't like it any better than the next 13 films that I'm about to name off. But I do think Ms. Marvel was done very well. The show had heart, it was funny, the action was pretty good, the CGI wasn't complete shit. At first, I thought Ms. Marvel was just like a Captain Marvel spin-off type thing. I didn't know anything about Ms. Marvel. I'm happy I watched the show. Now I have this new character that I'm interested in. I can't wait to see where Ms. Marvel's future goes. Number 13, Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night was a weird one. It doesn't even feel like it's in the MCU, which again, isn't a make it or break it. I just didn't see this coming. I mean, when they first gave us the trailer of it, I was like, what is this? What are we doing? But then when I watched it, it was really just paying, you know, respect. It was a tribute to those classic monster movies. I had a really good time with Werewolf by Night. Number 12, Hawkeye. I gave Hawkeye a lot of shit before it came out. I didn't want to see this. I like Hawkeye. I love Hawkeye. But I got just as much of Hawkeye as I needed in the movies. I felt fulfilled. I was good. I wasn't asking for a Hawkeye show. And you have a new Hawkeye coming, you know, Kate Bishop. I was like, oh, where are we going to go with this? And another one that really surprised me. I shit on it before it came out, but I had a really good time with it. And then the introduction of Kingpin of... Oh, it's a crime to blank on his name right now. Vincent D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin in the MCU, and yes, it's very different. Not very different. Yes, it is a different iteration than what we saw in the Daredevil Netflix show. This Kingpin we saw in Hawkeye, he like almost has superpowers. But essentially, the way he carried himself, pretty much the same Kingpin. And then I really liked Kate Bishop. I just don't really think we need another person running around with a bow and arrow with everything we have going on. But overall, I mean, Hawkeye was funny, it was entertaining, and I had a good time. Number 11, What If? I was excited about What If as soon as it was announced. It's going into these different timelines and kind of like what the comic books do. You know, what if Tony Stark was Captain America? And we got some good content in that show. There were some episodes that were whatever to me, but I think the zombies episode was great. I love everything they did with Ultron. The episode where there's like a serial killer going around killing off all the Avengers in the Avenger Initiative. You know, there was some, like the Black Panther, What If Black Panther was Star-Lord episode. Was pretty good. The Captain Britain episode was alright, you know. Yeah, there's some episodes in that show that are insane, and I'm so happy they're doing another season of it. Very exciting. Number 10. We're down to the top 10. Thor: Love and Thunder. I had a very good time with Thor in the movie theaters. I saw it twice in the theaters. I've seen it, I think, twice since it's been out on Disney+. I didn't buy it. I do like Thor Ragnarok better, but, I mean, I really enjoyed the movie. I love what they did with Jane Foster. I loved Jane Foster in Thor: Love and Thunder. I was worried that they were kind of coming in to bring in this new Thor to kind of push Chris Hemsworth out of the way, and then they were going to continue the Thor movies with Jane Foster being Thor, which you would see in the movie that's not going to happen. But they didn't do that, and yeah, I think they handled the character very well. I loved Christian Bale as Gore. I wish we got more of Gore, the God Butcher, a little more of him doing some God butching. But overall, I mean, Taika Waititi's humor is right up my alley. Yeah, I enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder. Number 9, Multiverse of Madness. This one, I feel like perhaps I went in with higher expectations than I should have. But I was going to see a movie called Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, my expectations might have been a little high. So I was a bit disappointed, and not really with what they did with the story. The story was fine. American Chavez, I think, was a great character to add to the MCU. I just wish there was more multiverse stuff. We got some nice stuff, you know. I just wish there was more madness. I love what they did with Scarlet Witch. I didn't think the MCU had the balls to do what they did with Wanda, but they did it, and it was beautiful. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but it was still a very good film. Number 8. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Now, I kind of went back and forth about even putting this on my list because I wasn't sure if it was still Phase 4, because I know they were saying, you know, Wakanda Forever ended Phase 4, but I'm pretty sure this is still Phase 4, so I'm adding it. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, I didn't know what to expect, and it exceeded any expectation I possibly could have had for the damn thing. I loved it. In fact, go check out Personified Fandom Podcast, which the link will be at the end of this video to see our thoughts on the whole thing. Deeper diving, you know, more in-depth. I just felt good watching it. I don't want to spoil it too much because it is fairly new when this video is coming out. Maybe not everyone has seen it yet. But if you haven't, it's 45 minutes of happiness. Do yourself a favor. Number 7, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think I liked this show a lot more than a lot of people did. The show got a lot of hate. The only thing I hated in this show was Sam's Captain America outfit at the end. Not everything can go from comic book to film smoothly. Not every comic book superhero's costume can be depicted on film and not be silly. But that whole story, I think it was beautifully written. The choreography was great. Bucky's story and him coming to terms with everything he's done. Oh, it's been a while since I watched the show, but I can't remember the damn guy's name in the damn show. This guy. Man, he was so entertaining to watch. I loved to hate him, but then I would feel for him. It was almost like a Game of Thrones type thing going on where the way I felt about this character was all over the place, and he was amazing to watch on screen. I'm excited to see more of Sam Wilson being Captain America, and I'm excited for Captain America 4. And yeah, overall, I love this show. Number 6, Moon Knight. I loved every single episode in this show except the finale. I mean, this show was a character study, and Oscar Isaac's performance was Oscar-worthy. Well, it's a show. It's Emmy-worthy. And I knew nothing about Moon Knight. All I knew is that he looked dope. And it didn't feel like a superhero show to me. It didn't even really feel like an MCU show to me. There were some things in there that were a huge departure from what we're used to. It felt like an MCU show to me in the finale with the CGI mess. I feel like they maybe should have went a couple more episodes. They were trying to wrap everything up in the finale. I think the finale's terrible. But everything else in that show I love. I really hope they do another season of Moon Knight because I love that show. Number 5. Shang-Chi. I didn't know anything about him when he was announced, but I started Googling, started reading some stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. He's kind of like Iron Fist. After really seeing the movie, I do not believe he's anything like Iron Fist. Yeah, this movie is beautiful. I mean, it's in the top 5 MCU things we got in Phase 4, obviously, as I'm doing a ranking. Why the hell did I just say that? Again, the movie is beautiful. Cinematography, the choreography. I love this character, and I can't wait to see him interact with the other Avengers. Yeah, love Shang-Chi. Number 4, Wakanda Forever. This is another one that I'm not going to get into too many spoilers because it is fairly new. I do love Wakanda Forever. Check out my Wakanda Forever spoiler review, which I'll also put a link to at the end of this video, where I can get into more depth about what I didn't like about it. But basically how they handled T'Challa's passing, I didn't agree with the decision, but I think they handled it well. That doesn't make sense, I feel like, unless I really lay it out. But check out that review and I'll get into more depth about it. Yeah, Namor was great. Angela Bassett's performance was incredible in the movie. Everyone's performance was great, but Angela Bassett was like out of here, you know? And it made me very excited for the future of Wakanda and the Black Panther. I'd say, yeah, I like it a lot. Number 3, Loki. As mad and as upset as I get that they keep killing off Loki and bringing him back, I've never said no. Yeah, I think Loki was great. Loki, Mobius, seeing the multiverse stuff in that, there was a lot of multiverse going on in it. Very interesting. It was starting to open our minds to the idea of the multiverse and how it works so that we can continue with these films like Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home. Why did I do that? Another great performance from Tom Hiddleston, and just when I thought you couldn't add any more to the character of Loki, the show frickin' did it. Like his relationship with Sylvie, the other Loki, him coming to terms that his purpose is just to be something that the Avengers have to deal with so that they can level up in their lives. I don't know if that's the greatest way to put it, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. And then the introduction of Kang. Jonathan Majors as Kang. He's great. And I'm so excited to see more of Kang. And yeah, Loki is one of the best things the MCU has done, period, I think. Number 2. Speaking of one of the best things the MCU has done, period, WandaVision. WandaVision was another one. Didn't know what to expect. Even the first 2 episodes didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know if it was just going to take this whole sitcom, old show thing seriously and just be that. Then things start unfolding. And again, another big departure from what the MCU is used to doing. Kind of an introduction of what the MCU can do on Disney Plus. Because correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, it was the first thing the MCU dropped on Disney Plus as far as the Disney Plus originals, right? Wanda's one of the best characters we have in the MCU. One of the most interesting, compelling, her story continuing in that, beautifully written, always kept me questioning and on edge for every episode, all the way up until the end. I just couldn't even imagine what was going to happen. And yeah, WandaVision is one of my favorite things the MCU has ever done. And now, you might have figured it out, through a process of elimination. My number one thing I think the MCU dropped in Phase 4 is Spider-Man No Way Home. I might be a little biased because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. And you gave me 3 of them. You gave me 3 of them that I love. I love Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. He's my Spider-Man. He's the Spider-Man I grew up with. Loved Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I love Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucked, but I've still seen it probably over 20 times because there's great things in there. And Andrew Garfield is amazing as Spider-Man. And might be my favorite Spider-Man. As far as the character of just Spider-Man goes, not Peter Parker. Spider-Man. And yeah, of course, I love Tom Holland. And just bringing those 3 together was something I never thought I would see in cinema history. In fact, that movie is something I never thought I would see in my lifetime, or ever would happen in anyone's lifetime. I mean, I remember when reports were coming out and the rumors that this was going to happen, and I was pretty sure it was at some point after the rumors, but I didn't think it would be to this extent. I thought it would be a small cameo. Maybe they're in it for 5 minutes, but no, they're in it, and they're doing it, and they're doing things, and they're talking, and is my second favorite Spider-Man movie. I think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie. I think one of the best comic book films of all time. Top 5 for sure. I should do that. Top 5 comic books of all time. Comic book movies of all time. I love this movie. Bringing back Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Bringing back Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, and almost getting not a different iteration, but a different, because he acted the same, but him not having the mask on and just seeing Willem Dafoe's face, it was a different experience for sure. And they should have just did that in the original Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, because that Green Goblin costume is ass. But another great performance of the Green Goblin. And Jamie Foxx coming back, that was cool too. And Lizard, Sandman, that's dope. I probably won't have that experience in a theater again. Although I said that after Endgame. If I had to pick one, which experience I think was better for me in the theater? Endgame or No Way Home, which both were insane experiences. I yelled in a movie theater. I'd have to say No Way Home because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time, and the Spider-Man films are some of my favorite movies of all time. And yeah, I might be a little biased. I know there's problems with the film, but I love it, and I've seen it I don't even know how many times. I think it's the greatest thing the MCU has ever done, ever. Maybe not, but I fucking love it. But yeah, that's my ranking of the MCU Phase 4. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know where you guys rank these movies and series. What was your favorite thing that they have done in Phase 4? What are you excited for in Phase 5? Be sure to check me out on the Personified Fandom podcast. Link will be at the end of the video. Also have a link to the channel in the comment section. And yeah, till next time, guys.